I've known Steve Bannon since 2012.
Interesting.
What I'd like to do is set up something and I'll fund it somehow.
Interesting.
Steve Bannon has been arrested and charged with fraud and money laundering.
Very interesting times. Hello everybody and welcome to the Interesting Times, a show that likes to take a sideways swipe at politics right here in the UK. And on Tuesday, Gavin Williamson did a U-turn on the A-level grades. Frankly, it's been a bit of a cock-up from the government, with people from all sides calling for Gavin's resignation. So expect Johnson to say something about understanding people's frustration, but that Gavin Williamson did the logical thing and was only testing his eyesight.
Of course, incredibly sorry for all those students who have been through this.
Well, to be fair, he's apologising, so at least he's aware there's a problem now, and we can ensure that there's nothing like this will ever happen again.
Recognised paths to get into university, but with a U-turn for A-levels, there's still no clarity on the route forward for BTEC students. Many still waiting for results they should have got 5 days ago.
Oh, for fuck. Oh God, you are the Education Minister. This can't be a surprise. BTEC results follow A-level results and then followed by GCSE results. Are you going to be sat at home on the 31st of December going, well, thank God Christmas is over. I'm sure I'm supposed to be somewhere tonight. Wait a minute, New Year's Eve, wasn't that last year? The good news is that's pretty well the end of the annual exam, so that gives you a whole year to get this sorted. Considering your previous record, I might as well get this recorded now. Okay, rolling. I can't believe you didn't get it sorted. You've had a whole year. Also, I can't believe England are out of the rescheduled Euros due to penalties, flash footballer that cares more about their hair than playing for England, cheating foreign officials, delete as appropriate. And Katie Hopkins and Alan Tidmarsh, I did not see that one coming. I'll edit it all later. Matt Hancock has scrapped Public Health England for National Institute for Health Protection. Just what you need in the middle of a global pandemic. So why change the name of one public health organisation for another? That's just a load of unnecessary cost in the way of changing websites. Headed paper, self-addressed envelopes, bobble hats, scarves. And I was there when Boris turned up for a photo op in the hope that this made up for a pay rise for the nurse's t-shirt. Well, because it isn't just about public health anymore.
My responsibility, Neil, is to make sure that the pandemic response is the best it possibly can be. And that's why I've taken this decision now. And actually, one of the lessons from the crisis, I think, for me, is that if something is the right thing to do, then delaying doing it is the wrong thing. But we've now got Public Health England, we've got NHS Test and Trace, we've got a new joint biosecurity centre working separately. And so in order to keep people safe, in order to have the very best possible response that we can, we need to bring these organisations together now. Yes,
always a good idea to have these things in place, because you never know what deadly disease is around the corner. 6 months ago! So this is Dido Harding, who will now be in charge of the NHS Track and Trace. Who is she?
Baroness Harding, who of course has been in charge of Test and Trace, and we've seen that 10,000 outsourced staff had managed to speak to only an average of around 2 people each. She heads that up. She was also in charge of Talk at a time when it was fined £400,000 for a data breach. She was also there when it won a Wooden Spoon Award from a newspaper for the worst customer performance 2 years running. And she's on the Jockey Club, which allowed the Cheltenham Festival to go ahead disastrously in March.
That's quite a varied background. Nothing about health, but no matter. Wait, did he just say...
And she's on the Jockey Club.
Weren't they the ones responsible for putting on the Cheltenham Festival, which infected loads of people in March? Is she working on commission? All right, everybody makes mistakes. The important thing is that she has worked at Talk, so understands that with something like track and trace, people's personal information, you're going to need some pretty stringent IT security in place.
Some breaking news in the last hour. Police are investigating after a significant and sustained cyber attack on the website of the company TalkTalk.
The data in question could stretch from anything from names, addresses, telephone numbers, account details, through to bank details.
Thank you very much, Chris, because we actually have the CEO of TalkTalk, Dido Harding, here.
Oh dear. So why has she been given this job?
After huge criticism and calls to ramp up testing again, the government announced a new programme of test and trace led by Conservative peer Baroness Harding.
We've got to do better than this. Here we are with one of the highest death rates in the world. We approach it like we're trying to sort out a charity fundraiser. Mavis, you're bringing the soup as you've got a couple of hot plates. Rachel, you and Mark have still got the coconuts for the coconut shy. And Dido, we're going to put you in charge of one of the most complex operations in the country as, well, you're a Tory that's worked with computers. They say a man is known by the company that he keeps, and Steve Bannon had a company and kept the profits. Now, we don't do much on American politics on the show, well, because it's not a US show. There are more people doing that type of show, and there are more people watching that type of show. Clearly. However, Steve Bannon has been more influential on the upheaval in the UK over the last 4 years than a tax-avoiding Kensington-based yacht-purchasing Tory party-donating oligarch. He was heavily involved with the Brexit vote, so much so that shortly after the referendum there was this.
Bannon, well done, Breitbart. You helped with this hugely.
He's praised the likes of Cummings and Johnson, saying that the UK is now going to see a lurch to the right. And speaking of lurch, he's also, well, he was, of course, on Trump's team. And although Johnson has denied it, here is a clip of Bannon talking about being in cahoots with RPM.
If Boris Johnson tries to overthrow the British government, it'll be at Commons. He's going to give a speech in Commons today. That's going to throw down. He just went back to the Daily Telegraph as a columnist. I've been talking to him all weekend about this speech.
Did you talk to him on the phone?
Went back and forth over text. It's just easier.
So Bannon's been arrested for fraud, which probably doesn't mean a lot for the UK, if not for this interesting little tidbit.
That I think you're the perfect guy. We helped knit together this populist nationalist movement throughout the world.
Yeah, that really does look quite dodgy, like Bannon's offering Farage timeshare in a Mediterranean tax haven. And may go some way to explaining Farage's penchant for wanting to track down refugees. After all, Bannon said this on GMB.
Just get back on message. Talk about stopping mass illegal immigration and limiting legal immigration to get our sovereignty and our jobs back.
One question is gripping the nation in the middle of the A-levels and BTEC mess and a second coronavirus wave on the horizon and the country going into recession. The country is after leadership. One question above all, where's Boris?
Boris Johnson has been spotted on holiday in Scotland. Recent events surrounding exam results and the fact the country is in recession has led to questions over the Prime Minister's timing to get away from it all.
Who'd know? Who'd even notice? When do we ever see Boris Johnson? I think he's on a permanent holiday. I've never known a Prime Minister with so little interest in his country, so little public service about him. I wouldn't miss him if he was gone for a year, and I don't think most of the public would.
I think he does a fairly good job. He's not perfect. We're all human beings.
I'm actually a human being, but please continue.
And like everybody, we make mistakes in life.
Well, everything's going on. I felt sorry for all the A-level results and what they had to go through with the unis and that. And he just made a mess of that. And he's made a mess of coronavirus. He's made a mess of a lot of things.
He's self-serving. He cares only about his cronies. He hides behind his ministers. The only person he seems to look to is Dominic Cummings. He doesn't hold them answerable. Parliament's not around at the moment. Maybe Parliament should be recalled. It's not even been mooted. I'm disgusted, to be honest with you. I'm really disgusted.
As we talked about on last week's show, Boris went to Scotland, where he went with his newborn baby, fiancé and dog. Having then hired out a lovely cottage in the middle of nowhere, he then sticks a tent on private land, although not sure who or what the tent was for. But the erection... but the erection of the tent didn't please the landowner. Typical. Even when he just goes on holiday, Boris still manages to piss off Scottish women. Well, he's now miffed that his break has been cut short, and he's now heading back to Westminster. He was considering staying at the Travel Inn, but we know how that's going to pan out.
Yes. Just come and have a look.
Well, that's it for another week. I hope you're enjoying these updates. And if you are, then please subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and make sure you don't miss another. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Take care, all.
Well, of course, you see it in the papers, on the telly, and also says boat after boat. And look, I'm not a racist, okay? I just want to make it clear, I am not a racist. However, I'm sorry, but I think we should be looking after our own. You know, that's it. Nobody else. Which is why I believe, and I know people are going to call me racist even just for saying it, but enough's enough. I believe that the only race that should be allowed into this country is a human race. No, I'm sorry, but it's time that people looked after people. So I'm just going to say it. If you're not a human being, then we don't want you here. I am a proud human being. And both my parents, they were human beings. And the parents before that, and well, I haven't done much digging, but I imagine it goes back even beyond that. I guess what I'm saying is the UK should be for, you know, people. So no Yetis, no sea devils, no blood-sucking creatures of the night, no gargoyles, no to the undead, no to the brain dead, whatever the fuck this is. And let's save those like ourselves, you know, people. Because, well, it's a human thing to do.